All right, welcome back to another episode of Born to Be Great. We got a good one today. It's just me and Nick, so we're gonna keep
Let's
it really
go.
tactical and really fun today. But Nick, tell the people what we're talking about today, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. We're talking about networking today. How to create value for valuable people. We'll kick it off with a story of how I got my job at Blue Stars, all through networking. So skip to the part. It's off season. I have a real estate license, and I'm in the locker room. There's all these guys. They're buying and selling homes. They come ask me for their help, and so there's like four or five players that I helped buy or sell their homes, and they kept coming up to me about, investing. And I'm like, well, I don't have any money, but they have money, and maybe I can, just raise a fund to go, deploy it somewhere, and that's how I can get my start into, private equity or venture. Um, so I started this initiative. I met the Cowboys, like head of PR. He introduced me to this gal that had worked for the Jones family for just like 15, 17 years, who was in the real estate arm. Had a really good conversation with her and still really close with her today. She introduced me to this other guy that had worked for the Cowboys for like 20 years, and he uh, he was like VP of the Cowboys. He's now like CRO of Legends, which is a multi-billion-dollar kind of sports hospitality consultant. And I told him what I wanted to do to start an athlete fund, and he's like he's like, oh yeah, if you want to get into private equity, you got to meet one of Jerry's guys. That's the private equity guy that's made him a ton of money. His name's Rob Wexler. So then he connected me to Rob Wexler, who I now work for. And Rob was a serial entrepreneur and had four exits for like 1.5 billion, and has had a lot of success with the Jones family. But like, so he connected me to Rob, and then we get together before training camp going into year two. He was like basically like my scrappiness and my attitude. He was going to allow me to like set up a fund to then co-invest into Blue Stars fund. So he helped me get that all set up. I go to training camp. I get cut going into year two on the second day. But then I maintained a relationship with Rob and started doing stuff for him on the side. Bunch of different random stuff. But at one point, we were working with one of his friends who had a sports media business, and he, was not gonna like invest money into the business, but he said we could go buy other businesses that he could value. So that was like 5 p.m. Um, on like a Tuesday, and then so by 7 a.m. Wednesday, I'm on a flight to Honolulu
A
to
day
go
later?
after the. Oh, that like 12 hours later.
Wow. And you have no,
Because I
and by the
already
way, you have no experience with this stuff really too, right?
no
Besides
no
the
no
real estate.
none.
Yeah,
No, I
just
mean I
super,
was
super resourceful.
yeah, I'm a finance, I mean I was MBA, I was selling shoes in college, made like 100 grand doing that, but like, they yeah, I just I did it on my own dime, and I knew there was this like tiny, youth sports 7-on-7 software. The owner was in Hawaii, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get this guy to like sell his company. So like I get on the flight 7 a.m., fly up to Phoenix, then from Phoenix fly to Honolulu. But in the middle of the flight, the guy next to me was like a crackhead, started tweaking out and freaking out, and they actually turned around the plane in the middle of Pacific. Have I told you this?
No.
Yeah, turned around in the middle of Pacific and then flew back to LAX. The feds came in and arrested him, and then we left
My
a couple
gosh.
hours later back to Honolulu. I got there at like midnight, then had to drive like an hour to the north side of the island, and then had like breakfast with this guy and his wife, and he was just like a entrepreneur that's made and sold several different businesses, probably worth 50 million, and kind of started this like this software as like a passion project, and it was small, but um yeah, I mean, long story short, like you know um we ended up not doing the deal, but because I did something crazy like that, uh you know they were like, we're going to give you a shot to work here at you know, at Blue Star, and that was about the time they were building out the fund. So yeah,
Wow.
that was like, you know, it
I don't think
was
most people
three.
would have done that, dude. I don't think most people
Now
would
this
have.
is, I'm a random football player that met this
Yeah.
guy that was connected to the owner, and I and there's a lot of stuff in between, like getting cut and then getting. So I got cut in like end of July of 22, and then hired full time at Blue Star March of 23. And so there was that in between period where I was just hustling. Like I'll tell you something later about the door knocking I did in like the richest part of
But
Dallas.
you were just
But
resourceful, bro. Like you were in a good situation, but you took full advantage. Like you were just resourceful. Like you had the wherewithal to be like, hey, I'm taking I gotta do whatever I gotta do to get to where I want to go. And I think that's such a big part of networking too, is because you can know a lot of these people too, but if you can really do something for them and show initiative and like help them out and not really expect much in return, like I don't think you probably didn't expect to like do all that stuff like that quickly and like have that job, but you were like, I want to do this. I'm gonna help them as much as I can, and hopefully it'll work out for me. And then now look where you're at.
yeah, I mean, 80% of everything is relationships, and it's finding ways to create value for valuable people, and getting them to trust you. I mean, it's been absolute, even how we met. I mean, it's been absolutely insane. I didn't even think any of this stuff existed like 3 years ago, but I've learned a lot about the power of relationships, and networking, and how that relates to elevating your life and your career. The two most important things are the mentors. I think you told me this, right? Your mentors you have, and the network you build. And I've been
Yeah, like
you I guess you told me
on
that
my
like
like
last week, but
yeah, the on my I think the biggest like two levers that you can pull for like building wealth in this world is your mentors because you can learn a ton of valuable information from them, and then yeah, your network, who you know, because like you're saying, just how like we met, like you never know that one person, that one connection can change your life, whether that be a friend, an investor, a business partner, whatever. And I think I want to get tactical now because the story was helpful because I just wanted people to listen and just show you like that's just one example of Nick and like how great he is at networking, but and how we took full advantage, and resourcefulness is just one piece of that. But I want to talk about now about why this stuff's so important because I think especially in like the business world and people I know, I think even online people are like, don't network, just go build. And, people will come to you. And I think to an extent that's true, but it's like you should do both. Like you should be building yourself, building your business, whatever it is. And then you should also be networking. Like you should try and be getting out as much as you can, meet people so you can provide value to them. And then they hopefully can, provide value back to you. And like, again, you never know how that one person can literally change your life. And I think that going to these business networking events, whether that be something local or something you got to travel to, that stuff will change your life, man, 'cause you can grind and grind and grind all you want, but you might not know that, like, that one potential person you might be an investor and, like, loves you, loves your business idea. It's like, boom, and they invest money and they have all these other connection. They take your business to the freaking, moon. Not saying it's that simple, but, like, these things really happen, and so I think if you can get in the right rooms, build yourself, build your skill set, build your communication skills, and then, go out, help people, provide value, and then, keep doing that as a skill set, like, it's super, super powerful, man. I think most people don't take advantage of that, just yeah, like, literally how we met. We literally met at this business conference, and we were in a room with some big dogs, bro. Like,
yeah,
dude.
that was like, yeah, I mean, there was bona fide billionaires in there, and the people that run their, family offices and sovereign wealth funds.
Oh yeah, we it was a big room, but we got connected and then we hit it off. Obviously more on the personal development stuff than actual business stuff. But now look at us, we're really good friends. We're doing this podcast. We've hung out. We've connected our network with a bunch of people, with each other with a bunch of people, and so I just think that stuff's super powerful. And that's just one example. Like I know you got a bunch of examples like that, but what do you think about that? Like how can people apply this to their own life?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's defining kind of your goals and what you're trying to achieve. I mean, there's definitely like application, and if you're in like a sales type role, for folks like even what I do at Blue Star, I mean, it's like super long enterprise sale of, you know, meeting people and getting them to, sell their company. A lot of times the best companies and founders are impossible to get to unless you get like a warm introduction. Um, so I mean, you know, network like crazy to, either get introduced to people or, have something that could be valuable to them. Like, I mean, there's even another story around uh like the senior living space and like ended up you've met Grayson.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever hopped on, but they own the largest like senior living management company in like Texas, like 200 facilities. And, this one guy would never talk to me. But he knew that I was friends with, you know, his would be his biggest customer. And we ended up kind of getting to know each other through that. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on what you're trying to, solve for. I think for me, I'm just trying to find more successful people to be around and to be, the least successful, um, person in the room and just always be, because when I was in the NFL, I mean, I was in the room with all these, incredibly talented people, and I was like, you know, I do not belong in this room, and it was always uncomfortable, and I always had to like be at my A game every single day. And so now I'm just trying to replicate that by people who've been, more successful than me in being a husband and in business, being a dad, and yeah, like you said, there's been moments in my life where one person, took a chance and opened up a door, and it absolutely changed the trajectory,
Mhm.
of my life. Several people, even just within the whole kind of Cowboys ecosystem.
Yeah, I think from what I heard from you, it's knowing what you want. So yeah, being intentional about the networking you are doing. Like if you're in business and like sports or food or whatever, don't go to like the tech events. Like go to the business or like go to like the events that you host, obviously, that's in your industry. And then I think be valuable and like build trust. I think that's what I
Hmm.
heard really is just, like you're going out, you're meeting these people, trust takes time to build,
Yeah,
show them
be
like,
a be
hey,
a giver, man. Like
yeah,
if everybody be a like a team, be a point guard that's always just, passing, to get assists, and it all comes back to you, man. You just gotta like pour into people and pour into your ecosystem, and it all will come back. But I mean, you got to be intentional about like doing it for the right reasons and wanting to help people. Um, because I think some people are very like quid pro quo
uh
and transaction, which is fine if kind of that's how they operate. But I think like you said, um, you know, all comes down to trust and just I'm just big on opening up your network, being a giver, and finding a core group of people that you can help um, find a way to win together in whatever you want to do. And oftentimes it's different, but you might have connections that are useful to me, and I might have connections
that's a
that are
big
useful
thing.
to
That's a
you.
big thing that like giving people connections. Like usually people think networking is just like, how can I help this person with maybe what I'm doing or like, doing business with them, whatever. But like connecting people with people, can be a big win. Like we were talking about earlier, but like literally opening up your network to people because there's that trust factor there, like you mentioned earlier. Like, hey, you saying earlier, I couldn't get this meeting with this guy, but then he found out I was friends with this other person. Now we're talking, like that trust factor is there. Getting connect with people that way, I think that's a big thing. I mean, at least for me, for sure. Like if I can get connect with people that I normally couldn't get connected to, like especially in business or just even like friendships, that's the greatest thing, man. Because again, like I was telling you earlier, like that your network is so powerful. You can grind all you want, but like if you don't know the people who can, get you into those rooms and help you out, like dude, years of grinding, bro. Like one person can save you years of grinding. I
Oh
100%
man.
believe that. One person can save you years and years of grinding.
And like, and I used to not. I mean, I was always so heads down in football and grinding, and then it probably took a year into business to realize like I needed to network like a lot more. And things have absolutely changed since I've just, you know, focused on building the best, network possible and, pouring into that network and if I go make everybody, you know, $10 billion in my network, like it'll come back, in some form or
The
another. But yeah,
millionaire
sometimes
maker.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't feel natural to like just introduce a bunch of people, but um, I think people really appreciate it. And if, some people, you just gotta, it's like you gotta figure out what would be helpful to them. And so it's trying to understand when you meet people, like, how can I serve you and be, helpful to you? And a lot of that, man, is through relationships, because those relationships have their own, resources that could be helpful
Can
that could
literally
just
that's
be
it's this
helpful.
big ripple effect, bro. Like literally, you introduce you introduce someone, they become friends or business partners, and then they we become close, and then you never know. Like they'll probably introduce like their network to those people, and so it's just this huge ripple effect of just like people just keep introducing each other, and then eventually you start knowing a lot of the same people, which is
Yeah,
really cool. And you guys start all hanging out, which is even more awesome. But who you surround yourself with, like especially in business, like if you're trying to make, if you're trying to start a restaurant, whatever, like the biggest way to become successful in the restaurant business is to go find someone who's playing 10 levels above you, who's been there, done that, and have them just teach you the way. But that's going out and finding those people in that work. That would be a mentor in this case, or finding people who are playing 5 levels above you and like learning from them. Like you don't just wake up and know everything. You learn from people, books,
yeah,
or like videos. And so the more people you can surround yourself with, I think that's another important piece too, is like building yourself and becoming valuable yourself so people want to hang out with you and they want to know you. But like you still got to go out there and do the work to know people too. So it's always both. It's build yourself, build your business, whatever you're building, and then go build your network as well. And I think you do both those things. So I think you do a really good job at it. If you're listening to this, like you got to know, try to get connected to Nick. He'll help you out. Um, but like
oh man,
when I think of super connectors, like there's three people that come to my mind, and Nick's one of them for sure. And I think that came from him building himself, becoming valuable. Reading a lot of books, skill sets. Working hard, and then going out there and doing the work. Like, dude, he flew to Hawaii to go help this. To go help this guy that he just met to maybe get a job. Like, how many people can say I flew to Hawaii to go meet this business owner? I have no experience in to do this. Like, most people aren't doing that, dude. Most people are like going on to LinkedIn and hitting apply, and that's pretty much it to get a job. So like, be resourceful, man. Like, shit.
oh man, and what he told me is, and it was small, and he was like, and this is what I work for now. He's like, I don't, I'm not focused on making 10, 20 million. I'm focused on building billion, $2 billion companies. Time is my most precious resource, and that's just what I want to focus on. And I remember telling him, I'm like I text him back. I'm like, yeah, I want to be building billion, $2 billion businesses. When can I start? And so that started you know, a whole chain of stuff that led to just getting an opportunity. And then yeah, I've been super thankful for being there. And it is I've learned a lot, man. I've learned a lot about relationships, and they just drive everything, man. Like I'm even sure, like in the food business, all your customers you were very close with.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
so it's like, and those were long customer relationships, weren't they? A lot of the bigger ones.
Oh yeah, like like that relationship that started with my grandfather went to my dad, then went to me. But like again, a lot of that, like even our average sales cycle would take 12, 18, 24 months. And that's
Hmm.
getting to know people, getting to know their challenges, their problems. And I think you hit something on important too, which I don't even know if you realize you said. Like you went to a dude who was already successful, probably has everything he ever needs, and you figured out, okay, he told you, hey, time's my most valuable asset. So you said, okay, time, I'm gonna go save him time. You helped this dude who had pretty much a lot of stuff financially save that. You can go. That's a good tip for anyone. If you're still listening, if you want to make money, go find a rich person and ask them, how can I help you? Like, what's your most
Yeah,
valuable thing? How can I help?
facts.
Literally, Like, just do that. It sounds simple, but it's that simple. Just be like, "How can I help you?" "Oh, I wanna save time." Go save them time. Start helping them out. They'll want you in their life.
And sometimes it's not even like business, like it's pouring into their kids because you can be, you know, a good example, you know, for them. And you know, even you know, Rob, like he's very one of the best dads I've seen, very passionate about, you know, his kids, and you know, a lot of them are wanting, you know, good role models for, you know, their kids. And so it's sometimes it's not even like a financial thing. It's just what's most important to them. You know, is it the faith, family? Is it, you know, business? I think the key thing is just understanding, you know, what's valuable to people, and how can you help them? How can you help them, you know, achieve it? So it's
I
been my philosophy.
I love that. I think that's super important. And that takes time to understand people and, like, trust, build that trust and how can I help you? And again, it's not just because you want something from them. You're understanding like, hey, like this is who I am. The more I do these things, the more I become more of who I am. But also in return, you're getting something valuable back. Like I'm sure it feels good to you to like help him out to, get to know his kids and like see them grow up. Like I'm sure that's fun too. So for you, you're also getting something out of it. And it's always a two-way street. Like a lot of this too is if you are networking and you want to be valuable, like you're getting something out of it too. You might just not be getting something immediately out of it. You might be becoming more of the person you want to become. You might get a cool connection that might not blossom until a year or two down the line. But in return, like you're helping these people as well. So I think that's just like again, the more you can help people, take away their pain, provide value for them, like dude, you're just gonna be a killer in today's world, and you meet a lot of these successful people, and they'll if you actually pay attention, they'll probably tell you in their story like, "Hey, I met this person." Like I forget the dude's name, the dude that invested in Facebook, but he was like, "Yeah, I just happened to go to the school and meet Mark Zuckerberg." And like, Mark Zuckerberg was mentored by Steve Jobs eventually. Like, if you look at all these really successful people, they had coaches or mentors, like an insane network where they were helping each other out. And so I just think it's one of the most powerful things. So yeah, if you're looking to network more, like again, build yourself, go to networking events, just find out. Like it's got to be
Go
it
build
can be super
relationships,
simple.
man.
Just like it can be
Everything in
super
my
simple.
life has been relationship that opened up. I had one offer coming out of high school to Arizona State because we were family friends with one of the biggest donors there that had put me on the radar of the head coach's on the head coach's radar. You know, and then end up transferring after 4 years to Louisiana Lafayette, and it's because I had played with the coach at Arizona State, who's now at Florida. Um, you know, COVID was crazy. They canceled my pro day. I had to train for another year. You know, ended up going through pro day at Louisiana, and there was one, you know, Cowboy Scout that was there that really liked me. You know, and brought me back. And so, you know, there was one team that I got, you know, an offer to, you know, contract to play. And so then ended up playing there. And then, you know, there was one guy, I mean, there were several people that helped me on the way to kind of get to the business side, kind of where I am now, but it was all because, you know, you made an impact on people and they felt compelled to, I don't know if compelled is the right word, but they helped me out and they introduced me to people.
They
And
liked you, they wanted to help you out. I think that's people. I mean, shoot, I want to hang out with people I like. I want to do business with people that I like. I think most people want to hang out and do business with people they like. And something just popped into my head that you touched on earlier, which I didn't bring up that I wanted to bring up. When you're talking about how you were in the Cowboys locker room, you felt uncomfortable and you were like stretching. Like, you got into the room, you were like stretching yourself. Like, how can I provide value? I think that's a huge, huge point. Like for me, I was in these business rooms where I was like, "Fuck, I don't belong here." Like I maybe just started my career, but I'm in these rooms with like really, really successful people. I felt stretched, but I think that's really important to like stretch yourself a little bit. Like get into the rooms where you don't think you belong, which you might not belong, but get in there, get your foot in the door, and again, be valuable. Just talk to people, get to know them. That will change your life too. And especially when we were at that event that we met at, I was like, "Why am I here?"
dude,
but
no, why am I here? I mean, I'm Mike. It's,
But yeah, you did it anyway. We both went anyway. And then now look at us. We're doing this show right now. So it's like that's just one other example of stretching yourself and going and talk to people. Like go if you're in your city, like go out to your city, go to your local coffee, just start talking to people, man. It doesn't got to be a business event. Obviously, the more curated events are helpful, but just go start being valued with people, man. Like you'll never know how it comes back. I'm telling you, like
Yeah,
you can meet
figure
one
out what
person.
you wanna do, man. Is it, networking to find a wife, or is it networking,
I got to do a better job of that.
for business? But yeah, I think it's just trying to figure out, um, what you're trying to achieve, and then just be laser focused, on that and shit. If y'all have any questions, reach out. Justin and I are getting good at networking, so
You
um,
know, I'm learning from you, so I'm learning from one of the best.
I don't know what I'm doing, so it's
You
all
go out and
good.
meet people, guys. Like shoot, meet people, get to know them, get to know their interests, connect people with other people. You will look up in a year, 2 years, and you'll have an insane network, and that will change your life, and like the fruits of that labor will come to fruition for sure, like down the line. And I totally believe in that, especially if you're just constantly giving, like Nick said, like give, give, give. It'll come back eventually, whether you want it or not. But just if you just give, good things will happen. We both believe in that 100%. So, Nick, anything you want to end with here? Leave the people with a little more than anything else.
Just go be great, man, and find ways to get better in some way. You know, every single day, every day's a new day, and shoot, I even struggle with a lot of things, every single day. But it's to be successful in life, it's always like pushing a rock, uphill. But at some points, when you meet the right people, it accelerates um
They
the
might have the
trajectory of your
fork. They might
life.
have the machine that can carry the rock for you, so you don't gotta
Yeah,
push it
work
anymore.
smarter, man. Work smarter, not harder. Um, but yeah, it's there's a lot of power in relationships and networking. So go be valuable to valuable people is what I'll leave you with.
Let's go. I love it. I'm not gonna end it with anything else because I couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah. If you guys like this episode, stick around. We're building this thing up. We're excited to talk about more cool stuff here. So, see you on the next one. Peace.